Hi everybody, it's Chef Nicole. Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm here on behalf of the Kitchener Market to share with you a baking recipe. This is one of my all-time favorite baking recipes. The main reason is because I love scones. So I was always paying high prices for store-bought scones, and as you guys know, I'm a mom of four, or maybe you don't know, and so they also love scones. So buying them out can get a little bit pricey. So I'm going to show you guys how to make a fantastic scone right here at home. It's going to be so simple and easy that maybe you'll try your hand at it too. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to be doing is getting our dry ingredients into a large bowl. I am using 2 cups of all-purpose flour. That's the first thing that's going in. I'm using a 1/2 cup measuring cup because it fits into my jar here, so that's why I'm going to do this 4 times. All right, so there we go. There is my flour. The next thing that I need to add is 2.5 teaspoons of my baking powder. Okay, baking powder, not baking soda. So we have 1, 2, and I will use my little 1/2 teaspoon so I have accurate measurements here. This is probably one of the only times you guys will ever see me measure in the kitchen is for baking, things that need a more precise hand. So I am measuring all of my ingredients today. To that, I'm going to add a little pinch of salt. I'm using kosher salt, so if that seemed like a big pinch, just know the kosher salt granules are a little bit bigger, so that's why I am adding in that amount. Next up is going to be 1/2 cup of sugar. All right, so that is all of our dry ingredients incorporated. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it a whisk. I'm whisking it so that we can distribute our leavening agent and our sugar throughout our whole entire batter. And there you go, simple as that. I'm going to grate the butter. The reason I'm doing this is because it will help it incorporate quicker into our mix. And we do want that light, fluffy scone. So we are going to make sure that we are handling the dough as little as possible. What I suggest is that you actually pop your butter in the freezer before you even start, because the warmth of your hands is going to start to melt it, even just while I'm grating it. I'm just going to sprinkle this butter in and around my bowl. And then I'm going to quickly work with my fingers. Again, like I said, we want to touch it as little as possible so that we get those nice pockets in our scones. Those air pockets are actually created by when the butter melts. It creates those lovely little pockets that we love in our baked goods. So if you ever wondered pie dough, how to make it super flaky, that's why we always want to work with really, really cold ingredients so that it doesn't melt before it gets into the oven. I've got my butter worked into my flour, and then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1/2 cup of milk, and you want to actually like drizzle this over the top. So we're going to drizzle this over the top of the mixture before we mix it together. Okay, I've got my vanilla and my egg in a small bowl. I'm just going to whisk this up, and then I'm going to drizzle it over the top just like I did with my milk mixture. You also could mix your milk mixture, egg, and vanilla together and then drizzle it over the top. I'm just using a fork to mix together my batter. I don't want to overwork it. I want to mix it just so it comes together like a dough. So for this recipe, we are making what's called drop scones. And what that means is that we are just going to use a spoon, scoop it on to our baking sheet, and then bake them in the oven. You could also form this into a rectangle And then when you do that, you could cut it into the traditional triangle shape. You know, drop scones are easy, fun, and super quick. Before I knead it too far, I want to make sure that I get in my white chocolate chips and my raspberries. And then I'm going to mix it into a nice cohesive dough. You can substitute in regular chocolate chips, another kind of fruit, whatever you would like. This is called a master scone recipe. So you start with the basics and then you can add in whatever mix-ins you like. It's kind of like visiting Marble Slab, but in your own kitchen. So I'm actually just going to shape by hand my scones a little bit. I'm only going to do 2 across because they are going to spread out and get a bit bigger. My scones are ready to go into my preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes till they are golden brown. I'm putting mine in just like this, but if you wanted to, you could brush it with a little bit of milk, sprinkle it with some coarse raw sugar or turbinado sugar, and just add that little bit of extra crunch. I'm just leaving these just how they are. They're going to be delicious, and I will show you guys how they look when they come out of the oven. The scones are out of the oven. They are beautifully brown. They smell fantastic. I'm going to show you guys a really simple glaze to finish these off, and then I'm going to give these a taste because I can't wait to dig in. So all we're going to do is I have some icing sugar and a little bit of milk, and it is the simplest glaze that you can possibly get, but it just adds that little finishing touch. So I'm going to get about 3/4 cup of icing sugar. Now you want to add your milk really slowly. Like add it a tablespoon at a time, and then that was a tablespoon and a half, and then mix it up, because once you add too much liquid, you will keep adding icing sugar and it will take you forever to try to get it to back to a consistency you can use. So always add it a little bit at a time. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. And that is looking really, really good. You want it pourable, okay? So check that out. Okay. So next up, we are going to drizzle. So I'm going to take my icing and I'm going to just drizzle it back and forth across the top of each one. Mm. Mm. These are absolutely delicious. A little bit tart from the raspberries, that sweetness from the white chocolate, and the glaze. It is perfect. I hope. If you like the recipes you guys have been seeing, and if you recreate any of these recipes, we would love to see what you're making and how it's turning out. You can always tag me, Chef Nicole, at Meals Without Madness on Instagram and Facebook, hashtag the Kitchener Market. You can also tag the City of Kitchener, and we would love to see what you're creating. I look forward to seeing you guys online or out at the Kitchener Market really soon. Have a great night.